comments on it.
Mhm.
But like every year, people are reminded how horrible Nintendo is. Like, they keep doing really unfavorable things, and just everybody forgets. You know, they release the new like cozy game, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, Nintendo, they're a great company," even though they are literally the world's largest sacks of shit.
Word is such a shit is pretty accurate.
Well, again, they keep releasing mediocre to horrid games. And horrible games really aren't too bad. I mean, like if we're talking about like there are certain aspects that make a game better, certain aspects that make the game worse. And that's the game. And that's okay. It's just they're so annoyingly bad when it comes to anything. That it feels like they don't not only don't listen but don't care. By the way, the specific thumbnail I'm making right now for this one, when I do upload the version of it with the thumbnail, it's a reference to something, and if you get it, it's not great, but it's
Do I get a
funny.
fucking cookie?
Huh?
Do I get a fucking cookie or something?
Well, if you guess it, I know that your browser history is not as clean as you say it is.
All right.
All right, I'll upload that later. But now, as we stream, the thing is, people keep forgetting like how bad all these major companies are. Like Nintendo is horrible. And as much as I may have certain opinions on a political event that keeps happening, I think Twitch is even worse. Think about it in like their thoughts and actions. So, a lot of historical actions that these major companies are kind of taking, they're not great, but they're like forgivable things. Things that like, oh, okay, this company made this decision. I don't agree with it, but hey, world we live in, they still got to make that choice. But in the instance of YouTube, YouTube has kind of been a bastion for everybody. They're doing their own thing. I don't like what Google does because Google is responsible for a lot of things in itself. I'm losing track of myself. Let me recenter real quick. Let me recenter. Nintendo, they keep doing shitty things, and people will keep forgiving them the second, like the next Animal Crossing comes out, or the next, cozy game that people remember from their childhood, more or less. Like, they're constant attacking of people who are, I will say, doing something illegal with piracy, but if Nintendo's not even making the games available, so if people wanted to, like, you know, buy the game again, that's not even an option. Okay, that cackling's kind of getting on my nerves. I don't like this witch thing. It's just annoying. And, like, their current copyright, I think we talked about this before, with animals that harvest or collect a resource for you. How are you going to copyright that? Every game has their own version of it. And with their current anti-piracy thing, like, as much as piracy is technically a crime, what do you think about, like, the games initiative? I know we keep coming back to it, but the fact that, you know, you have access to a game past when the company's, like, done doing something with it.
It's clean, but I worry about my mineral intake.
Alright, I think Connor fucking died.
I'm here still, just listening.
Yeah, but you're supposed to comment back. You're supposed to talk to me. I get lonely.
It's so needy.
Oh, wow. Maybe I want my co-host to actually participate.
Okay.
but I mean, a good way to put it, like generally speaking, most of the stuff that they're doing, like life cycles of games tend to be short, sadly.
Yeah.
You're not ever going to keep everybody's attention for long, and it's reason why, as much as I hate it, there's always a new Call of Duty next year. And it hurts because
Really?
dude, Black Ops 6 came out last year December. Black Ops 7 is out or coming out right now. The open beta wasn't too long ago. Every year there's a new COD. So it's one of those things where I don't even feel like playing the current one because, you know, 8 months time goes around, I'm having to buy the next Black Ops, the next COD. So even if I did sit there, grind it out for a 3-month period, enjoying the game, like this Black Ops 6, I got Dark Matter in like a month. I got like I'm Master Prestige. I'm reaching like I think I'm like level 100 something. Like I'm working on getting Master Prestige. But I don't feel like ever completing or enjoying the completion of what I have done if in just a short amount of time, new game. By the way, I can tell they already added new sound effects. The roach nymphs sound different. And, I mean, in games like... This is where I'll give Nintendo some credit, at least. In games like Pokemon, there's replayability past the game's initial prime. Even if there's not, like, too much, there is some. But there's also, all the Pokemon that you get, you can transfer them to your next character in the next game. Or at least you could in the earlier titles. I don't know if they still maintain that. It's been way too long since I've ever been interested in a Pokemon-like game. Because I've never actually played Pokemon.
What was the last Pokemon game you played?
I've never actually played one. Unless you count Pokemon Go.
Kinda.
All I did was I walked around town with my family. Like my mom played Pokemon Go like years after its prime. She kept going. And every once in a while I run into somebody who plays it and I'm like, "Oh, I played that." And then we have a conversation about it cuz I think they're neat. The closest thing I would say to play Pokemon I've ever really done, Connor, is I collect Pokemon cards. Do I know how to play the game at all? Not even close. But every once in a while, I buy a pack of Pokemon cards and just I'm like, oh, that was neat. Oh, that is, oh, it's just a Orb Weaver. Oh. You don't perfect block when you're being attacked. And a block... I don't like that. I've never actually missed a good block against an enemy for them to then break my blocking stance. I didn't realize it stuns you for a little bit. I'm impartial to that. But you know, like, buying a pack of Pokemon cards every once in a while just to, I don't know, see what's new. Maybe get something cool, get something rare. Why is there thunder in this game when the sky is perfectly clear? I mean, like, think about how many games that you've played, or even, like, live service games that you've played, free to play or paid, you put money into, and now the game is just gone.
Not really many.
Yeah. And of course, why would you? A lot of the companies that make these games, they don't really promise much after what they deem to be the game's life cycle.
the texture is unpleasant.
Yeah.
And not only are the promises kind of empty,
This one's for you, Prometheus.
what they do promise is generally like low quality. I mean, as much as people are clowning on the new like Pokemon game and the way it looks, it's
It's clean.
horrible.
The biggest gripe for me, no fucking voice acting. It's really, really awkward.
The characters just stare at each other.
They stare at each other and their mouths move, but there's no sound.
Like, the game's full released, isn't it? Or
Yes. It is in its
Oh.
1 point. It's actually 1.0.1 right now.
okay, they could have done what they've done since the fucking PlayStation 1. Make the characters make while they're speaking. That at least adds fucking like character, and tone. As dumb as that is, like I'm imagining the witch from Banjo-Kazooie. She just literally cackling. That's their
What's
whole
her fucking
thing.
name? It's Grun something.
Grunhilda?
Is it Grunhilda?
Well, I know Grunhilda.
That sounds right.
Grunhilda is something from like that's a witch's name I've heard somewhere before.
Oh. Apparently in myth, Grunhilda's a pixie. Okay.
I said I heard it somewhere before. Where would you find the
Gruntilda.
Gruntilda?
That's her fucking Winky Bunyan. Apparently that's her last name. Neat.
Okay. You learn something new, I guess. But again, there's just like stuff like that, just not having it there or essentially refusing to have anything there really kills wanting to like interact with the game. Again, that's a little bit of character adds a lot. Where do you get milkweed from? I'm still looking for that stuff.
You can find its pods on the ground, but I believe milkweed is the plants with the pink flowers on top, like the really tall ones that mantises are usually on.
Okay, so I don't remember where any mantises were, honestly. So, but it sounds like you're saying I gotta kill a mantis.
Not necessarily.
Well, if the manti are usually there. Not necessarily true, but less likely. I'm gonna head, oh, you can see them on the map, actually. Bombardier is the second you get the ice staff, but kind of a joke. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, and a lot of the stuff that I've just seen major game studios do, it's okay. It's passable. But why would you want to see a AAA studio do it? So like basic stuff of, hey, this game kind of doesn't sound very good. The characters don't really have any character. That's kind of bare minimum. You want to see that. Again, I'm not saying we need perfect voice acting out of these guys, but when you want to at least hear the characters in the game you play interact. God, every time I'm doing something, I lose track of my thoughts so fast while playing. But oh, they're underground. That's annoying. Like, isn't it standard though that games should at least have a degree of voice acting or a degree of like character interaction or
I
depth?
would rather have my dad cook it.
So like a decent game to think of is, do you remember like Amnesia and a lot of horror
Yeah.
earlier horror games? They didn't really have much commentary or things to say, but they still had depth and interaction. But those got away with having minimal to no voice acting or any voice acting at all, just because the main character didn't really need it. They didn't have to speak. But in the cases of like think Legend of Zelda, another one of Nintendo's games that were typically actually pretty decent. Link doesn't need to speak because he grunts.
No.
And if he doesn't grunt, he still has facial expression. That's a minimum. Why is it now that Nintendo, in this case, gets away with not only having their characters kind of be one-dimensional, like empty blocks, which can work, but no actual depth of it?
Yeah, sounds about right. Like, that's kind of how it works, to an extent sense.
Well, it's not only kind of how it works, it is how it works. It's how Nintendo has been making games for such a long time. And don't get me wrong, to a degree, it's our fault as a consumer in its own shitty way. Because a lot of what Nintendo does is they make to what they think people will buy. And people kept buying. Oh, well, you know, here's a good way to put this. And this kind of, I guess, segues into something else I want to talk about. Nostalgia vision. And constant lack of understanding. And this is something, I don't know, like, since you're not in a, you haven't worked like a job in an office yet, right, Connor?
Mm-mm.
My experience, and this is super broad, feel free to give some like different kind of pushback on it. But most of what I see in the workforce is a lot of people who are like millennials and boomers.
Yeah.
I and you are Gen Z, and of course there is going to be like a generational difference exposed to different like informations and technologies. But a lot of what I see is people tend to be like pretty heavily stuck in their ways or opinions, but they don't really like interact with the why part of it.
This counts as research, right?
So a decent example of this is, can you think of like why so many people are like so specific on, oh, we need to be Republican or conservative? You can give it like a little more of a psychoanalysis on that one.
For a lot of people, it's how they grew up around it. It's something that they know, and so it's more familiar to them.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
cling
there's
to it.
nothing malicious about it. In fact, it's, I would argue, more willful incompetence. Like, why challenge it? There's no need to. It's not what you had to know. It's not what you needed to know. And there's just some things about, like, the rule of the world. For example, you're not going to challenge your mom on something when you're a little kid. You're a kid. Your mom says it's something, it's that's what it is. That's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things that were doesn't need to be. And I think, like, of course, some of it's like status quo. So a lot of things aren't necessarily going to change just because that's how it's always been. As horrible as that is, as big as I'm not a fan of that, things aren't going to change if that's how it's been, but that's how it will always be. But how often do you think it's because people actually have a real negative opinion or understanding of it? Or just because it's, say, an uncomfortable reality they haven't had to contend with yet?
Yeah.
So this is, I guess, my generational like approach or thought to it. But a lot of my older, wow, I didn't realize these were the milkweed paws. I'm kind of dumb. A lot of my older like coworkers that I've had to work with, they generally talk negatively or poorly about a lot of things they believe, just because in practice, what they say has actually like nothing to do with what they believe. Like,
Yeah.
they're not really acknowledging
Yeah.
contradictions in their speech.
No, a lot of people tend to not.
So, I mean, let's get real political here for a second. With a lot of things that I'm seeing Trump say, because he's the biggest like facing figure, is that certain behaviors aren't okay, don't do it. But a lot of those same behaviors he criticizes or says he's against, he's been like intentionally a part of. So something that I hear a lot is that Trump, how can Trump be racist? Black people work at his, you know, his places, places he owns and businesses he has.
Mhm.
He had actual trials in court for not letting, well, black people work or participate. There were times where he would actually shoot black staff members away when there were racist people who were at the locations. There's logs of this, there's a history of this. But at least the current wording is, nope, it's equality. That's kind of hypocritical.
Rules for you, but not for me.
I mean,
It's how quite a few politicians function.
well, I think currently, and I could be wrong on this one as well. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I just broke a milkweed pod and it just fell through the ground. And I don't think most politicians agree with that. I think that's a loaded way of saying it. Not that you're intentionally loading it, but that's how everyone operates to a level. Of course, there are the people who are above that who will behave better, but I'm going to say generally everybody, if they can skirt by the rules, they're going to.
Yeah, it's part of our nature.
It's just one of those things where we intentionally live within the rules of, say, our society because it's the price we pay to, like, live the way we do. Like, we're not going to start killing each other because then who's to say somebody won't just kill you?
Yeah.
But how many of these actions are, like, intentionally negative? I don't think so. I think it's willful incompetence.
Oh, yeah. Willful. It's better to assume incompetence than malicious.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Occam's
Malice.
razor, most people are just dumb.
Yeah.
I doubt, like, the second somebody does something, like, absolutely horrible, they thought, like, each individual step out. Chances are they didn't think at all. Like, let's talk, like, relevant topics. Hassan, the streamer himself, shocked his dog with a dog collar. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, shock collars I don't think are inherently bad. But how he portrays himself as a person is that he's above that. Oh, he wouldn't shock his dog, but I mean, again, there's nothing like inherently wrong with using a shock collar if you're doing it properly, not abusing the dog. But he hasn't let his dog leave that chair on his stream very frequently at all. He just has a $10,000 something dog just sitting there to be essentially a prop for his stream. Like, that's the kind of portion where it goes from, oh, I mean, he got a nice dog, to he's just abusing a dog. There's no way that's how you are supposed to treat an animal like that. And again, willful incompetence here. He didn't intend for, I guess, the internet to kind of blow up about it. The guy did something not necessarily bad, but very stupid, very publicly, and now everybody's lost their fucking mind over it. Like, a lot of his fans have been coping on the internet, just doing a lot of, like, coverage, or covering for him for doing it, like shocking his dog on stream. I mean, it's a dog, but I don't think it necessarily deserved to be locked in a corner and just do nothing like that the whole fucking time it's there. Also, why are there more crow feathers? Do they
Unsure.
respawn?
Yeah, they respawn.
Oh, then I might be getting crow feathers that you've already gotten. I'm at 10 pieces already. Not too bad. They're around the milkweed area. I have 3 milkweed tails, but I can't get any more. Oh, I can't seem to find any more. I don't think anybody's really contesting the fact that people do dumb things all the time. That's a lot of wolf spiders. I think under the fountain or the... Oh, the lamppost.
Oh, there's like 3 of them.
That's a lot. But yeah, it really comes down to, like, how many people do you think actually care about what you're doing? And something that I think is going to be a little more, like, hard to talk about is why people take any action they do. Is it really because they don't like you, or is it more likely that you challenged a belief that they thought was true? Because nobody wants to be told they're wrong.
This is true, and typically people don't like accepting new information.
Well,
And okay. So there's 2 ways that people do it, which is basically reshuffling what you know and incorporating this new information to what you know. Some people just deny it outright.
oh, now here's something that
talked about in my classes.
I kind of want to push on to, or a little bit, is how many people do you know actually incorporate their information into a way that's positive, or they pretend that they do? Because there's a lot of information that's, say we think we know, or we say we know, but we don't actually know. Like, it's impossible to know everything.
Yes.
And this is where I'm gonna get really pedantic with what you said, but I'm gonna try phrasing it the best way I can. I'm horrible at communication. A lot of things that are said, broadly speaking,
This one's for you.
are true to whoever defines it, and when you get into a debate or any kind of, like, toxic anthill, I didn't remember that was a location. Anytime you get into a more political or defensive area, so I think like most parts of the internet, they get really hyper defensive on what they say, what they think, what they believe. Most of the people who are in those areas don't actually believe like the negative stuff, or they won't be able to like have a real thought on what they are trying to say without getting defensive about it. So think about like when me and you are having like a really dumb argument, and then I bring out like a pedantic definition about like, are you sure about that actually? And then you get really pissed about it.
Yeah, because you do that all the time.
Yeah, because it's fucking funny as hell. But that's the thing. I do it, I would say, like in a fucking dumb way, but there are people who genuinely believe that what they're saying, even if it's completely wrong in the moment, is 100% true. So
I mean, and then there's also people that don't like you so much that they will, if you say one thing, they will go against the opposite no matter what.
yeah, they'll say literally the worst fucking thing ever.
Yeah. Like, have you met one of those people that, like, if you were to say the sky is blue, they would, like, increasingly argue that it's not?
They would say
Just
it's
because
like
they don't
teal or
like you.
something.
Yeah. Just because they don't like you.
Which, I don't know. I feel like that's something that we have to get over as a group. Because as much as I don't like a lot of people, in fact, being social it comes easy to me, but when you tell me about like people as a general concept, absolutely not. I don't like people. But if I meet a person, oh, I like that person. People? Oh god, no. But there's still the part where if you have a conversation or you're just an interaction, a healthy, normal interaction, by no fucking means do you want to actually talk to somebody that you disagree with so heavily.
Damn it, I keep on typing range wrong.
I am the Great Ranger. Feel me.
Entomophagy is better at this skill.
Like, well, how many people, like you said, that when you tell them the sky is blue, they say, no, it's red. But you can always, I say, trap them in that. Because, I mean, you can say some really dumb things, but there's only so much dumb things you can say before, hopefully, people start abandoning you or losing faith. Like, something that's kind of crazy is, what do you think the most researched medication is for pregnant women?
I don't know.
It's
You
Tylenol.
probably know better.
It's
I don't know.
Yeah, no, working with medicine a lot, one of the most researched and safest medication for pregnant women, especially, you know, they're giving birth, it's Tylenol. Again, we wanted something that we had constant, easy access to. I mean, the acetyl strain that makes Tylenol is pretty easy to get a hold of. It nullifies the pain, they feel less pain, they're better for it. What do you mean Northern Scorpion Jr.? That is a fully sized scorpion. So I just killed a arguably full-size scorpion, and it said it was a junior. I don't believe that. Do they grow differently?
I don't think so.
But again, like that claim of like, hey, Tylenol causes autism. Where's the proof? Where is the research? And I know a lot of people like to quote the Harvard one. Oh, and this is something that was going to irritate me to the ends of the earth. People misquoting any kind of research papers.
I mean, yes, especially in psychology. Like, okay, one research that people bring up a lot was the conversion therapy papers. So, Dr. Adler, I believe, is who did it. Alfred Adler.
Swedish guy?
No, it wasn't Adler.
It might be Adler.
Adler's Austrian. He worked with Freud.
All I'm saying is, I know, like, when people talk about the conversion stuff, they talk a lot about a Swedish doctor who is fucking insane. Anyways, continue.
But the doctor who did the first conversion therapy, like, studies, has, before he died, and, like, a few years, I think it was, like, a few decades after he did it, he hated himself for it because he did it again and it just showed that it was completely wrong.
Well, any study
and, like,
needs to be conducted.
came out and apologized about it.
Well, that's the thing. Once the information's out once, like vaccines causing autism.
Oh yeah, that was a complete hoax, and the guy lost his medical license too.
Well, that's the thing. People want his license given back to him because apparently he was right all along. Now, here is something that it's so hard to argue with, but when people say it's not like they're trying to argue the specific point, it's clearly a dog whistle. So when people say, well, maybe we shouldn't just be giving all these vaccines at once. Now, it's one of those things that's so hard to argue with because there is a lot of research in a lot of different ways. And fuck, I mean, if spreading out a vaccine or taking our main, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine and spreading them out more months apart, maybe that does have no negative effects. But when people say let's spread them out, they're not actually saying they want you to spread out the vaccines. It's a dog whistle saying that they think all vaccines are bad. Like, no honest person's gonna like make that argument, but it's so hard to argue against because it's a dog whistle to even like deeper like just vaccination denials outright. like I don't know if you remember this one story of like during the peak of COVID, there was a lot of people who were allegedly dying from the vaccine because it was giving them massive blood clots. On one hand, there were people who did actually get like massive blood clots from a specific vaccine strain that was actually just bad. And that's the thing. I'm pretty sure that was partially debunked as is. But people were saying because of this vaccine, they were getting these massive spidery clots.
So, Dr. Robert Spitzer was the author of one of the most widely cited examples of conversion therapy, and he apologized to the scientific community and LGBTQ community for his mistakes, and publicly like redacted his own paper.
That's the thing. This is one of the most amazing and sadly horrible things about any of the sciences we do. By the way, that fucking praying mantis is massive. Weakness to fresh and slashing. Every single thing in science, especially with the scientific method, is research, test again. And you keep testing until you prove yourself wrong. And that's something that I think is a little irritating. Everybody treats science like it's the end-all be-all. And, you know, given enough time, maybe we'll get there. Maybe science is the end-all be-all. But it's not. It's intentionally designed not to be. The goal is to keep going until you fail. And then when you fail, ask why. And then fail again.
A soldier ant.
And that's why when people like miscite research, like again, that Harvard study talking about autism from Tylenol, just referenced that, hey, the woman who took it, their kids had autism. And it's one of those like damaging terms again. Autism is such a broad term that goes from people who are fully self-sufficient, just a little extra spicy, to being completely incapable and need care their whole lives. That isn't the same thing.
So, Spitzer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the main force pushing for homosexuality to be removed as a disease, a mental disorder.
I still kind of find it weird how people think it's a mental disorder.
I mean, we just know that the brain is different. I mean, one thing that people don't understand is that the brain is another organ. It can have physical issues to it. It's not just in your head. There's physical things that, like... So, we found that with PTSD, parts of the brain, I think it was the hippocampus, were smaller than they were supposed to be. And when it was actually treated using therapy and medication, it increased back to normal size.
That's news to me, actually. I didn't know there was any research on it, like, returning.
Yeah, so, like, there's actual proof now that PTSD physically changes your brain, and that treating it returns your brain to the natural state. It's not just scarring.
Well,
scarring,
I know there was
yes.
more, but I thought that was, like, we already knew it was physically different because of this.
Yes, but now we also know that there are parts of the brain that physically change under trauma, not just with scarring, but like physically change, and they can be returned to normal through treatment. Like, it's cool as hell. And another study that's currently still going on finds that most trans people that are not transitioning, like not on hormones, typically have the brain structure of the opposite gender.
Well,
and by opposite gender, I mean the gender that you're wanting to transition to.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm going to say, especially when it's difficult and dangerous to cite those on a broad stage, because
yes,
their sample size really isn't that big, and this is why I wish people would quit quoting them as often, because the only time we can get the truth is having the biggest sample possible, and even when you get the biggest sample,
there's still like
the more people you
variables,
it could flip the scale entirely. The more people you get, say you investigate 1 million, then you investigate 2 million. Oh, everything's completely different now.
So the first study, if I remember correctly, was in the early 2010s, It was like 500 or so people, and then this current one that's going on is around like 3,000 or so people.
Again,
So
the
it's
more data points,
bigger.
ideally, the more people we can help. Just
Yeah, and this current study is showing that the first study is its results are fairly accurate so far.
well,
It's still in progress.
I was about to say that's irresponsible as a scientist, though. On one hand,
Yes.
if it's showing positive, that's great and all. Don't share it until
But
you're
you're
done.
Yes,
That
you're not
sounds
supposed to
so
have
dumb.
bias.
Yeah, because it even if it's not
Which
intentional, it sounds like they're digging in that
is-
direction immediately.
Is becoming a problem with a lot of studies is bias.
Well, everybody's digging the same way they want. So, like, I
Yeah.
mean, look at flat earthers. Most of them believe that the world is genuinely flat, so they conduct like studies as best as they can, and they still prove they prove to themselves that the world's round, and then they still go back to, oh no, everyone else still says it's flat. That one's wild to me. How they can still go from one part of that conclusion back to the same thing again.
And I remember this one guy. He was a part of like the Arctic study. Saw that the Earth wasn't flat, and like stopped being a flat earther.
That okay? What irritates me so much because there's two sides to this. On one hand, I'm so happy that he had an open enough mind to where he was proven wrong, and then changed and adapted his perspective. Again, there are some things that we can say are verifiably true. He verified it. Now he believes it. So super simple, super great. Other people will still see the same thing that he did, and like, no, clearly false. There's government space lasers changing it. Oh, and on top of
the
that,
Jewish space lasers.
dude, the Jewish space lasers with the Hawaii thing that one still kind of throws me off. Because when I initially heard that, when were the Hawaii fires?
Oh, I don't even remember
Dude, that
now.
was like 3 years ago now, I think. It's still so insulting that the fact that Japan gave the Hawaiians more money than the own U.S. government did to support them. That one's crazy. But genuinely, how people, when I first heard like, oh, a space laser caused it, sure. I didn't question that a space laser caused it or why a space laser caused it. I'm like, oh, man, sure, maybe a space laser does cause it. I didn't hear anything saying a space laser doesn't cause it. But obviously, there was no thought there. I had no brain development at that point, I'm guessing. Looking back at it, no, that sounds so stupid. Because why in the hell do you think, and this is with most conspiracy theories, that, yes, the Jewish space laser targeted Hawaii because they wanted more real estate? I'm sorry. They could have just waited a couple years for, like, literally any of the volcanoes to detonate. They would have had all the real estate then. Like,
There would have been even more real estate too.
Hawaii is such an important place. To
Tactically, yes, it's quite important.
well, not even tactically. I'm saying research-wise. Hawaii houses most of the world's environments all in such a small location. I think it's
It does have a lot of environments. in
9
small
or
locations.
11 of the types of environments. Like, it holds so many different environments that it's just a boon for, like, global research. On one hand, yeah, I mean, it could be a Jewish space laser, but on the other hand, hear me out now, it could just be a fire started because somebody was an idiot. Do we know that? No.
Also, couldn't we just, why is it called a space laser? Shouldn't it just be an orbital laser?
You're not thinking conspiratorial enough. The Jews have to be involved in it somehow.
All right, Jesus.
Again, as much as I don't like other people, I'm not going to assume that, say, if somebody walks up to me, pulls a gun on me, and says they're going to kill me and rob me, am I going to assume that I was the specific person they're aiming for? Dude, just yesterday, the pair of shoes I bought, the only reason I bought a new pair of, like, slip-on shoes is because my other slip-on shoes, I wore a hole all the way through them. to the ground. There's a
Oh.
hole in my shoe from me just wearing it. Only reason I bought
You
it.
had a hole.
I'm not gonna assume if somebody pulls a gun on me trying to rob me that it's because I'm Mr. Moneybags. I'm going to assume I was just the person who was there at the right time, wrong place.
Yeah.
As horrible as a lot of these world events are, generally speaking, most of it's not targeted violence. I will say
Most of it's not.
the biggest atrocities, generally speaking, are completely targeted, but not all of them are.
Oh yeah. Sometimes a person's just fucking insane.
I'm not even gonna say a person's fucking insane. It's just that, again, you were there, you were convenient, and as like pessimistic as this is, I do believe that people genuinely feel love and affection for other people. I do, but more likely, the genuine affection that they love and hold for another person is just because they were the right person who was there at the right time. Not that they were the perfect person, but they were the person who was there, who was with you, who worked through everything, and you stayed together. It's why I think most people who get married after like a year is not great. Can it work for some? Sure. I just think most people who get married after about a year, that's too fast. If you are there with each other for 5 years, still dating, chances are that relationship's going to be a lot stronger.
Yes, that's typically how it goes. Longer relationships before marriage are typically better.
Look, yeah, because you both made the decision as actual, like, thinking, I'm assuming, adults. We're probably there. Again, there are some people who can somehow, miraculously, I'd say.
For some people, it's just love at first sight, chemistry, just sparks, and it's they date for like half a year, and suddenly they're married for 80 years.
You, my child.
You shall be the
with the
one with the figgy pudding. Sometimes it literally just is that. Sometimes you just vibe with the person well enough.
And that's really all it takes. Today has been a lot much deeper conversation on this, but how is this stuff like missed broadly? A lot of the conversations is what it should be, conversation. Oh, is that a fucking senior?
This counts as research.
I think a part of it is just not willing to hear them out.
I don't know. As much as I spout and say some really horrid shit, like really bad opinionated shit, I don't think most like horrible things that people can say or think of about another person, another group, anything survives first contact. The second a conversation actually starts and there's an actual reason behind it, there are things like you can't really get over, but I think most people, their thoughts and opinions, like 90% of them, generally are whatever they held at the moment that was convenient. Only, I would say, like a 10% is their hard beliefs that will lead to an actual, like, official difference. Like how
I know
often-
that one thing that I've really heard a lot is that the first thought you think is what you've been conditioned for, and the second thought you think is what you are, is who you are.
I'm gonna say no. Just because
This is just something that I've heard in the past.
it's a good anecdote, because generally your first initial thought is just what you see repeated constantly around you.
Yes, like for example, you see something like a person with a scar and like a pretty bad facial scar, and you think, "Oh, that scar is ugly," and then you think, "Oh wait, I should not think about that about a person."
No, I feel like that's a horrible example.
Yeah,
The reason
fair enough.
I say that though is because when you see somebody with an initial scar, generally you might think, "Oh, that's neat," or "Oh, that's bad," but when you see then something, your next thought being, "Oh, you shouldn't think that." No, you should judge a book by its cover. There's a reason why they have a cover. but you should also
This is
understand
true.
why that cover was made, how it had happened. There's the deeper like actual
Context.
deeper actual context, but there's that deeper and more critical like thought you can give something. And just saying, "Oh, bad because," no, that's dumb.
Doesn't.
Oh, well, awesome. Epic. Neat. Cool. I just fell to my death. Let's leave it with this note, just generally speaking. Your first thought that you have something is the thought you're most exposed to. Your second thought is the argument or the counter pushback to it. And this is my like general opinion on like broader people who might have this. Your third thought, the one that you sat there and you took time to actually think about, to evaluate yourself, that's your real thought. Sadly, most people don't even get past the first one, let alone the second.
You know what? Yeah, that's fair.
That's my word of wisdom for the stream today.